battle for Africa. So all the three superpowers are in Africa: Russia, China, and America. All of them are in Africa, which is good news for Africa. Some think it's bad, but I think we can also use them to our own advantage. It happened in the Cold War. Both the Soviet Union and America built a lot of infrastructures because all of them were peddling for influence. So we can use them to our own advantage. America's interest is simple. America only create conflicts in Africa here, destabilize the continent, and steal our resource. China. The Chinese need us and we need the Chinese. We need each other. The Chinese are investing a lot in Africa because they want African market. That is their interest because they produce a lot of things and they have to sell whatever they produce. And they need African market. And that is why in some countries, the Chinese are even building a lot of infrastructures because they are peddling for influence. So we can use them to our own advantage. Equally, in Africa, we have a lot of resources. What are we going to do with this resource? We need a market to sell these resources. So it is absolutely foolish, in my opinion, for Africa to completely decouple away from all the superpowers at the same time. What about Russia? Russia is the best here. The Russians are here because of America. They want to undermine the interests of America in Africa. When it comes to resource, the Russians have a lot of resource. So with or without African resource, the Russians will continue to be superpowers. The Russians were superpowers under Catherine the Great without even stepping foot in Africa. After the collapse of the Soviet Union, the Russians rebuilt their economy, and today they are superpowers again without stepping foot in Africa. So the Russians are not here because of resource. They are here because of America. The Russians fully understand that the Western America built their economies at the expense of African economies. So they want to completely make Africa great so that both America and the West will not get enough resource and money from Africa, because all the money they make from Africa, they go back to the West, produce weapons, and they fight the Russians. And that is why the Soviet Union supported Africa from day one. So among all the three superpowers, I think the Russians are the best. Next is China. America is completely out because we can learn from our own history. So it is simple. Everybody is in Africa here for their own interest. But we have to analyze the interest and also put forward our own interest. This world is all about interest. It makes sense to work with Russia and China now because all these two countries are peddling for influence on the continent and we can use them to our own advantage. I think the Russians are the most reliable partner here because Russia works based on principles. The Russians help the Chinese, and today the Chinese economy is bigger than Russia. They help Germany, and today Germany economy is bigger than Russia. So the Russians have a history of helping other countries. Even if these countries will become bigger than them, America has never done that. China has